Hey, this is Jim from TrekWorld, and join me today as we take one of the most in-depth look at a Star Trek episode ever taken on YouTube. All right, we're all familiar with bloopers, but what we're going to take a look at today isn't just bloopers. We're going to take a look at any time something appears to be just slightly off in an episode. It may be a blooper, it may be a continuity error, it may be a plot point that everybody missed. But along the way, we will talk about some things no one else on YouTube has ever talked about before. So pull up a chair and remember why we are Star Trek fans, as well as why we have the reputation for analyzing every last frame. Join me today as we take a look at The Menagerie, Part 1. So take notice here of the receptionist in the outer office for Commodore Mendez. She's actually wearing an Enterprise uniform. So keep an eye on the left side of the futuristic sculpture, because as the team beams down here in a moment, a hedge is going to appear out of nowhere, and voila, there it is. So this one's a little subtle, you might not catch it initially, but take a look at the way the set is lit. When we get close-ups of Captain Kirk and Commodore Mendez, notice the shadow on the right side of their faces. However, when we get far-away shots of the exact same scene, the set is lit from their right side of their face. Now in this episode, Dr. McCoy highlights that
we've learned to tie into every human organ in the body except one, the brain.
And that as a result, this is how Chris Pike is reduced to communicating. Obviously, though, they have tied in to the human brain because he's lighting the lights in the sequence that he wants using just the power of his brain. He turns his wheelchair using just the power of his brain. He can move forward and backwards using just the power of his brain. And while we're here, in order to be able to do communication with people even sporadically, why couldn't he have actually been set up with some form of Morse code? Or in real critical situations, you have Vulcan mind melds for complete communication. And in this scene, as Spock takes Dr. McCoy to see Chris Pike on the Enterprise,
I see that you're...
McCoy begins delivering his line, "I see you're still signaling," but he actually begins saying that line before Pike begins signaling. And in this clip, one of the transporter techs has a pair of glasses on, is writing handwritten notes with a pen. In the same scene, we'll pan away, then we're going to pan back, and guess what? The glasses, the pen, the notes, everything gone. Now the shadows in this scene are very unique. As the team beams down, the shadows go in a variety of different directions, even though this is a binary star system, so at most you would have fixed shadows in two different directions, but even more so, all the remaining scenes showing them walking around on the planet, these shadows are nowhere near as pronounced, and they don't run in different directions. In an effort to what was apparently done to keep costs down, each of the laser blasts that go against the door that we see here, the damage, animation, and optics are identical. The same blast patterns, the same rocks, the same smoke. If you have any videos, photos, or documents that you would like to donate to us, please feel free to send them to jim@trek-world.com or submit them via the web at submit.trek-world.com. Now in this footage, Kirk actually says that Spock has
presented a plea of guilty.
In the event of a guilty plea, the court-martial would have automatically proceeded to sentencing. It's interesting here that Kirk specifically says,
no vessel makes record tapes in that detail, that perfect. What were we watching?
But in reality, just a few episodes back, in the episode of Court-Martial, we saw that the Enterprise does in fact keep records this detailed of the things that happen on board the ship. Come on, you know you like the video. So do me a favor and go ahead and click that like button down below so that YouTube will know to show this to more viewers. In the voiceover for this, Kirk says,
Lieutenant Commander Spock,
but he's wearing Commander Stripe. And why would Mendez put Captain Christopher Pike in the only room we've seen in the episode that doesn't have an automatic door. And in the same scene, Spock immediately sits down, puts his hands on the table, and in mid-conversation, the camera angle changes to show us a shot from the front, and his hands are under the table. Okay, admit it, this is the one you've been waiting for since we first started the video. Spock clearly states here that the Enterprise is...
It's only 6 days away at maximum warp.
And yet, when the Enterprise leaves Starbase and warps out to Talos 4, a shuttlecraft capable of only sublight speeds follows for a significant period of time, well beyond its range and well beyond the speed that it should have been going. And this is something that almost nobody notices because you have to wait for the rear credits. But in the Menagerie Part 1, the directing credits and all of the production credits go to people who are actually part of the series' regular crew. In the Menagerie Part 2, those names will list the people that filmed the cage.